Another day, another video trying to make Elvish Reclaimer work in Modern. Hello everybody, welcome to another Modern video. We're going to be trying out a deck list very similar to something that Bob49 5-0'd a league with this past week. I've been talking to Bob a little bit and we've been bouncing some ideas back and forth. And this is kind of my take based off of what he actually got published in the 5-0 dump. And this is a deck that I've tried in the past, but it has a couple of different takes with it. So let's dive right into it and let's see what we're trying to do. This is very much an Elvish Reclaimer deck, but it's not only an Elvish Reclaimer deck, but also a Knight of the Reliquary deck. So we're getting some pretty strong Maverick style vibes with this deck. And of course, with this kind of shell, we want to be doing stuff with our lands. What better thing to be doing with our lands than getting Ursa Saga and spitting out constructs and stuff like that. So the mana base is fairly straightforward. We have a bunch of green sources, because I think we really want as many as we can get. And then Flagstones of Trocare, that we have the Flagstones engine alongside Reclaimer. We also can use Yavimaya Cradle of Growth to have a Knight of the Reliquary also be able to sacrifice the Flagstones, which is going to be quite relevant. But that's kind of it. We don't have too much going on besides the singleton Bojuge Bog that we have access to. So this is kind of the idea. Also, I just realized that there's an Indatha Triumph here, but I think it's technically correct to play a Bant Triumph, and the reason for that is we want a color different than Bojuge Bog so that we can Prismatic Ending for X equals 4 in very extremely narrow case scenarios. And an even more narrow case scenario, we want to make sure that we can cast or part of the Old Front from the Cyber, but that's kind of like a little bit of I'm going to change that in the actual deck list, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that's kind of what the deck list is going to be doing. Then we are sort of doing kind of Taxes impression, which I thought it was an interesting approach. So we are very old school Maverick, not so much like the more current Maverick decks in Legacy, which are a lot more mid-rangey and kind of trying to be proactive and just getting your opponent dead. Very often even playing stuff like the Depths Thespian Stage combo. Here we are actually going a little bit more old school and we have access to the fixed Mother of Runes. Not only that, but we also have access to Thalia. And then we even have some stuff like Archon of Emeria and Aven Mind Sensor, which are, quote-unquote Taxes style cards. So that's the stuff that we are going to be using to disrupt whatever our opponent's doing. We're also playing 4 copies of Edith Army's Call, which obviously Call is not the best combo with Thalia, but what can you really do? But Call is going to give us access to a pretty interesting subset of toolbox creatures. So we have the aforementioned Mind Sensor and Archon of Emeria. We also have access to Skyclave Apparition as a removal. Then Endurance as a Graveyard Hate and just overall great card. Renegade Rallier as a way to get back our Sagas, get back our Reclaimers, or even our Thalias or artifacts in case we need to. And Solitude and Titania as both an endgame or removal respectively. The interesting card that I have not tried personally that Bob was using is Serra Paragon. This card from Dominaria United is kind of amazing. So what it does, it's basically a slightly better lures, but a fixed one. So instead of being able to play the same card over and over again, you can only play cards once, but you can play your lands, and even more importantly, you can actually play 3-drops. So we can cast your Knight of Reliquary, Endurance, like any of these cards which die in combat at one point, we can bring them back with Serra Paragon. We can also hit our land drops, and we can also get back our artifacts that may get destroyed. Obviously, this is going to be particularly relevant with stuff like a Sogan Lantern against Graveyard decks or things like that. So definitely an interesting card I'm looking forward to trying out. Only 2 copies, but I don't think that you want to be playing that many more anyway, so we're going to see how the deck performs. As far as the Cyber goes, we have a County Garden as a tutor target for Reclaimer and Knight of the Reliquary, which can play very nicely against the Creativity deck. Not super sold on this, because like the idea is that this card is particularly good in Amulet, but the reason why it's good in Amulet is because you're playing a bunch of bounce lands, right? So you just get to replay the same Colony Garden over and over again, as well as Vesuva. So you do get a pretty significant amount of tokens out of your Carney. So here we're only going to get exactly 1, and that's it. Like sure, technically we can like sacrifice and then get it back with Rallier or Sora Paragon or whatever, but that's not particularly effective, right? Like it's not a particularly great way to go about it. So this seems like a little bit of a narrow card, and I think that it's not going to be as great as the original deck list would suggest, but I'm willing to give it a shot, so that's why it's here. Pitting Needle as a tutor target for Saga. Forge Tender is a must whenever you're playing any cold deck. In fact, maybe we should be playing more. This kind of deck usually struggles against stuff like Fury and even stuff like Ragavan, right? So Burnt or Forge Tender just comes down on turn 1 and it just sits there. It just sits there and your opponent can't Fury your board. They can't Anger if they're somehow still playing Anger of the Gods. And yeah, Ragavan can't get through. So Forge Tender is an absolute beast. Collector Oof against Graveyard Strategies, which aren't really that many besides Hammer, but you know, it is what it is. Oreo Champion, particularly great against this Scam deck, of course, and of course, just very, very good against red and black decks overall. Shadow, if that's still a deck out there, and I think I would even bring this against Murktide potentially. Hushbringer, absolutely fantastic against all of the Elementals decks, of course, and also Scam and whatnot. I guess maybe against Scam it can be a little bit of a double-edged sword, so I don't know if I would bring it in against Scam. Containment Priest, though, it's a fine one to... Again, like these are all tutor targets for call, so that's why we have a bunch of one-offs in the sideboard. We have Containment Priest against Graveyard Strategies. Knight of Autumn is the only one that we are playing multiple copies of, because we actually want to naturally draw this one. And obviously it's going to be good against stuff that's, you know, just blowing up artifacts and enchantments. I think that it may be correct to just play a split between these and Outland Liberator, because Liberator can be particularly relevant in certain scenarios or in certain matchups where they don't have that much removal, because Liberator can allow you to blow up multiple things. And also just blowing up things at instant speed can be particularly relevant in certain matchups. Endurance, of course, absolutely fantastic. And Force of Vigor, it's one of the best cyber cards in the entire format, so we can play it, so we do. And then, as I was saying earlier, Over the Earthworm, particularly against creativity, and nothing else. And then finally, Shalai, Voice of Plenty, which is an interesting card. I was never a huge fan of this style of card. Maybe it can be okay in this kind of shell because we have Reclaimer Flagstone, so we actually get to ramp a fair amount. But yeah, the idea is basically giving you hexproof, so I guess all of your creatures as well, but just a 3/4 for 4 flyer, it kind of doesn't really cut it in Modern any longer. It just dies to Unholy Heat, so I don't know which are the key matchups where we're bringing this in, but we'll figure out. This was mostly Bob's idea. This is not mine. This is going to be the deck we're going to be playing through a Modern League. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below with your thoughts, your ideas, stuff that you like, you didn't like. And of course, if you would like to support my content, you can do so through Patreon, through donations, or you can also book coaching sessions with me. All the information is in the description of the video down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for round number 1. Alright, baby. Look at this hand. What a masterpiece. And I'm gonna go turn 1 Reclaimer with this hand. So Mesa, fetch for Temple Garden, and yeah, I'm gonna attempt to untap with Reclaimer, which if we do untap with it, it's gonna be a 3/4, which if I had a 3rd fetch land, I would consider not doing this. Of course, I drew another fetch land, but okay. So I'm gonna pass the turn, and if my opponent lets me, so if they fetch, I'm gonna fetch now in response, and now this is gonna be a 3/4, and there's nothing I can do about it, which is pretty nice. We're gonna have some options here, because I can go for Saga here. Jetmir's Garden into... I can bog that. Don't think I want to be doing that. Jetmir's Garden is very confusing, but I'm not gonna play around Blood Moon here. Let's go for Flagstones and tap. Prismatic Ending. Yeah, I'm just gonna play a Giver and say go. If we want to, we can set a Knight of the Reliquary for next turn, which I think I want to do. There goes Bloodstained Mire, which we know about. So my opponent could be on creativity, but if they are, that's kind of a weird list. Fable. Okay, so they are on creativity. They're continue hitting land drops, which is obviously not. So get Headquarters. And now we can get a Saga and get that going, or we can get Flagstones again. We're going to have access to 5 mana next turn. We're going to have access to 5 mana. I think I'm just getting Saga. And then I just call for... Knight. I did find another reclaimer, which means I can just kill this if I want to. We'll see. It's kind of really good though for me to like drop a knight right now. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Let's get planes, get a down risk call, Knight of the Reliquary, play my knight, which is gonna be a 7/7 with Giver of Runes backup. Yeah, so they are indeed playing creativity. Jetmir's Garden is weird. I don't think that is stock. I wonder if they're gonna go for it. Sacred Fountain. Okay, so not going for it. Still no blue mana for opponent. Oh, they're playing the Persist version. Well, obviously now I feel like, because this was very easy for me to play around by just holding up Bojugabog. So this is a chump attack. I'll take it. I can call for Solitude. What is this double heat? Okay. Oh, they're just gonna have Leyline here. They don't have blue though. Oh, they can use the treasure. Okay. Okay, yeah, so I mean, if I had known that they were on the Persist version, I would have obviously played it much differently. But yeah, we obviously get pretty blown out there. Yeah, I'm just gonna concede. Like, we can call for Solitude, but then my opponent has the Ram, which I can't pressure. Like, it's just, we can keep playing, but like, what's really the point? So bring in Kalni Garden, bring in Orvar. Again, very interesting that we know that they're playing the the other version. I don't think I want access to Hushbringer. Containment Priest seems decent. Seems pretty okay. I think we're gonna cut a Flagstones. Archorn seems medium. Mind Sensor seems medium. Operation seems okay. Probably Sarah Paragon's gonna be pretty medium. Thalia versus the Ren deck. I mean, on the play, maybe it's a little bit more relevant. Do I care about Peating Needle versus Ren and 6? Let's cut two endings. So let's bring in Peating Needle and Thalia. Yeah, Thalia sounds awful. Just the Force. I feel like the first Force is pretty reasonable. This is a draw, I guess. I mean, I guess I'm gonna keep it. Like, worst case scenario, this is gonna find me. Springleaf Drum, which is obviously not great, but we gotta do what we gotta do. We can go turn 1 Kalni into turn 2 Reclaimer plus Saga on Needle, and I'm probably gonna preemptively name Ren and 6. I could just try to name a fetch land in the blind. Like, I think that's gonna be particularly useful. Mull to 4. Okay, still my opponent can win. We do have the call, so we can surprise Orvar, which is pretty nice. Nothing like a good surprise Orvar. It's not great. Play Needle. Name Scalding Tarn. And effectively Stone Rain my opponent. Get in there, Plant. I know you're feeling it. I know you're feeling it. Yep. We got the cheese win. That's why you always respond with the fetch. Okay, so now we're gonna be on the draw. I'm not feeling the Sarah Paragon. Let's go with Force instead. Maybe 1 Forge Tender instead of the third Giver. And go with that. I don't think that the Oriok Champion does anything really. Try out this hand. It's a little bit weird. Slightly sketchy, but we do have Solitude Pitch, which is nice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Temple Garden, because if I find a fetch land I can play it, and then my Reclaimer is off of bolt range and my opponent did already show me Lightning Bolt. So turn 1 Reclaimer, say go. Having drawn the Bojugabog sucks a fair amount, but it is what it is. The question now is, do I want to play a Saga on 2? And I guess that it's gonna depend on whether my Reclaimer dies or not. Interesting. So Reclaimer does not die. That's very sexy. So we're just going to fetch for basic forest. And so now Reclaimer is a 3/4, looking pretty safe. I do think I'm going for Flagstones though. Black green. They just tapped wrong. They do want to play. Okay, so I'm just gonna pressure the Ren and 6, which means that I'm gonna have to fetch something else with this Reclaimer. So let's get. We can get County Garden here. Yeah, this takes a lot of pressure from what my opponent can do. Springleaf Drum. It's pretty neat. Green, white. I'm just gonna attack the Ren and 6. Opponent can set up a dude here, but we just discard anything, and then next turn we can just solitude it, so we don't care too much. Oh, we do get to sacrifice the plant token, which is nice. So they do fetch for the Triumph, so now they have big value, basically. Okay. They do get back their fetch land. Just play out a Dwarven Mine. Okay, so I guess they're going for it. Killing my plant token. Seems like it. Okay. You got my plant token, you got my... I guess my Wojuka Bog. And now we do have an interesting question as to whether we want to play... Whether we want to play the second... Because we can go face, or we can go... I'm just going to hardcast this Solitude, right? 1, 2... Do I want to play the second Saga, though? I think I do. The reason to not do it... Yeah, I guess I'm gonna not do it. So sacrifice 1. Yeah, sacrifice this. We're gonna get Yavimaya. Oh, I'm an idiot. I don't have white mana now. Well, I fucked this up. So I guess I had to get Flagstones. Ugh, that sucks. Well, messed that one up. I hope that doesn't cost me as much as I think it's going to. I think it's gonna cost me though. I'm fairly sure it's gonna, because we could have cleared the Ren, or we can swang for a bunch. What I was trying to set up was we sack the Saga on upkeep with Knight, so I can do 1, 2, 3 mana, and then I can deploy the second Knight. That was my plan. That's why I went for Yavimaya here. But I forgot to think about the fact that, oh yeah, that's right, I actually need white mana to cast this thing. Whoopsies. Lightning Bolt my Solitude. Okay. We're gonna play another one of those. Okay, that I can beat. That I can beat. They picked up the Cycling Lane. Nice. So we're gonna leave mana up for that, meaning that I'm just going to do this here, sacrifice this with the trigger on the stack, get Flagstones, and I guess Ren is not really doing anything. Oh, we can just name it with Ren and Sick. And now this means that we have access to Call. We have access to Call, and we have access to Reclaimer activation here, which is not bad. So they fetch, get a Dwarven Mine, Dwarf token. They're going to be able to Creativity for 2 with Pierce backup. Okay, that's not it. That is most definitely not it. If they don't do anything, I'm probably still going to call on end step. And I'm just going to get the Orvar, which is just going to chill in my hand. Leyline Binding. Okay. I wonder if they're going to just take Peeling Needle. They take the Knight. You got me. Now they don't have blue mana. Now they do. Now it's tapped. Okay, good. So now we're definitely going to activate Reclaimer, sack Flagstones, get some value, and I think we can get another Saga. But I think I'm not going to do that because I'd rather do this. I am going to call, and this is going to be kind of awkward because we're going to, like, now my opponent knows that they have to play around Orvar. But I think that it gives me enough value. And it also allows me to tap out now. So now I can play Knight. I tapped wrong, but it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna attack for 3. It's gonna attack them. This Rena 6 is just not. And we have enough mana to activate Reclaimer and make a construct. So even if they, I mean, they just can't make more than 2. And if they do make 2, we just sack both constructs. Yep, just lock him out. Hell yeah. That was nice. I kind of threw a little bit there, but it didn't punish me enough because my opponent didn't find the second creativity on time. Awesome. See you for the next round. Round number 2 is here, and this hand is a little bit too reactive, so I think we're just going to ship it. Obviously, there are certain matchups where that hand is great, but this hand is the nuts. What do we bottom? Thalia, probably. Second Thalia. We don't know whether Thalia is going to be good or not, so. But we have Splinter Twin right here, so. What else can you ask for? Turn 1 basic Plains into Aether Vial. Can I have my Prismatic Ending hand back, please? That's not what you want to see. That is not what you want to see. So we found 2 of our Saga targets here. The question is, do I just main phase activate Reclaimer now to play around my opponent's Mind Sensor? Kind of feel like that may be reasonable. Humans? Okay. It's sort of scary. Can I go over the top of that? Probably. Will I be able to? Is a different question, but I can go over the top of that. I just don't know if I'm going to have enough time to do that. Yeah, so if I had my triple prismatic end in hand, we would be in pretty decent shape here. Funnily enough. Luminarch Aspirant. Okay. It's a lot of counters. This is probably going to be too much. Had I been on the play, maybe, but especially if they have like a lieutenant here, that's going to be a swing for 10, which is ridiculous. Cathar Commando. I think I've seen enough. Like, I'm not going to be able to beat that, so let's move on to the next one. Knight of Autumn sounds good. Containment Priest seems decent versus Aether Vial. I mean, it doesn't do anything because my opponent can just go ahead and just say, no, well, I'm just not going to cast my thing. But like, it actually does anything at all, right? Like, as long as there's a Noof or a Priest in play, my opponent can't really do anything. Shalai seems kind of decent here. Operation Mind Sensor doesn't do anything. Archon doesn't do anything. They're basically just... Hushbringer actually seems pretty decent. Soul Guide can go. Exploding Impeding Needle. I don't think I want Forces, but I'll bring in the Knight of Autumn. Obviously, we have a couple of numbos here, right? But we have like Hushbringer plus... well, not Endurance, but Skyclave Apparition, Hushbringer plus Titania Solitude. But like, this card... Like, if I have a Hushbringer in play, I'm probably just okay. Like, I don't mind too much. I think I'm actually going to cut the Oof, but leave in the Containment Priest. Because the Oof stops my Shadow Spear and Spilling Drum. And the Suran Orb. And particularly, Shadow Spear and Suran Orb are going to be very, very important in this matchup, I think. And I don't think I want that many answers to Vial. Particularly because I already have the 4 Prismatic Ending. Okay, now we're on the play. And this hand looks fantastic. Let's keep it. So I think I'm going to go with Temple Garden on 1. And I don't even blow up a Vial on 1 because I can just Knight of Autumn it, which is nice. So Temple Garden, yes, play Reclaimer, so you go. I guess it is a pretty good curve though to just go Ending plus Giver on turn 2. So maybe Dismember. Okay. So I'm definitely gonna play. Ooh, that's a great draw. Really good draw. Just gonna get a Forest. Play Reclaimer, play Giver. Here we go. Really want to find the land next turn. If I find the land, I'm going to be in really good shape. If I don't, probably still going to be okay, but it's going to require a little bit extra work. Giver. Okay, so we just passed the turn. I imagine my brother has Cathar Commando here. I think this is what turn 2 go is about. That card's not really doing anything though, because I'm gonna be going for Flagstone's plan. I don't need to go for Saga. So I think my opponent is just playing like mono white humans, maybe similar to the Pioneer deck. I don't think I've seen these before. Maybe it's good. Who knows? Impossible to know. It's a Vial, which doesn't really do anything. Esper Sentinel, which also doesn't really do anything. Giant Killer, which also doesn't. My opponent has a bunch of cards that don't. Flagstones. Land. No such luck. Just gonna pass the turn here. Basically, the card that I'm afraid of is Luminarch Aspirant. And everything else I don't really care too much about. Even Thalia's Lieutenant is not that scary. I can probably just outmuscle Thalia's Lieutenant. I mean, I'm playing around Mind Sensor. I could have, but I don't think I should. If they do have it, I do get God, though. Opponent plays a second Mutavault. And down to 2 cards to my 5. But they have a lot more mana than I do. That's hopefully about to change. They do get a Giant Killer activation here. So end step, do that. Flagstones, get Headquarters, get another Flagstones. 2 mana, tap my Giver. Okay, I'm gonna give this protection from... Okay, so they did have the other Dismember. It's kind of not that big of a deal. I kind of really want to play out these second Giver of Runes. But I think I'm better off playing Knight of Autumn and blowing up the Esper Sentinel. Let's say worst case scenario, my opponent's last card in hand is Thalia's Lieutenant. Like, I'm not going to be using Prismatic Ending to blow up anything. If they have a Lieutenant, my best line is to... I need to save this prismatic ending for Luminarch Aspirant. I don't think that's in May, so I think I'm just gonna play this out. And I can call for Solitude, have my opponent draw a card. That's so bad. I think I'm just gonna use my mana for blow up the Giant Killer. One say yes, pass the turn. So they're gonna get in an attack, but if I do on top with Double Giver, then things get tricky for my opponent. I just need to hit land drops. That's all that matters. Just firing up the Mutabolts. So worst case scenario, my opponent has Thalia's Lieutenant in hand, and that's just brutal. But now things are okay, because they don't have Lieutenant. Land, Marsh Flat. Okay, that's good. So let's play Knight. We're gonna blow something up. The question is what? I think that the answer is Espers, which allows me to call without having to pay attacks. And now we're gonna have Double Giver up. So I think at this point we have successfully stabilized. So unless they have something like Brave the Elements. But I think Brave the Elements is only white creatures, so it doesn't, like, mutables don't get affected. Either while going up to 3 is scary though. It potentially suggests something like Adeline, and that card is very scary. Mutavolt, other Mutavolt, okay. I mean, they can't have a Lieutenant now, so there's that. Interesting. Pro colorless. If they have another Dismember, they get to kill this Dismember now. They get to kill this Giver, I mean. But, okay, so I'm at 9. Reasonably healthy life total. Get another Temple Garden, and if I find the land, Titania gets in there. And boom. Windswept Heath. There you go. Them having a flyer is potentially an issue. Let's see what this is. Extraction Specialist. I'm kind of surprised that they just threw away a Mutavolt. Like, okay. So going into game 3, I don't think I want to change anything. Mind Sensor, Archon, Thalia. I mean, a 2-1 First Striker is kind of relevant in the matchup, but it gets outclassed very quickly. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. This is very much a speculative kip, but if this hand works, then it's gonna be kind of sick. So that's a step in the right direction. That's a step in the right direction. I think I am ending this thing. It's bad if they have exactly turn 2 Luminarch Aspirant, but if they have that, I was going to be facing 3 points anyway. So that's great, because, you know, I have Giver Reverence. 1-2 is better than that. So let's play my Giver, and I think I'm just going to play that and say go. Because my plan is to next turn go Saga and just play Knight as a 3. Okay, so they do have the Dismember. Down to 2 cards. And no Aspirant, so that's great. Really want to dodge Dismember number 2. That's the one thing that I want to dodge here. Let's get Headquarters there. I mean, that makes Knight into a 4-4, but... And I'm safe, kind of, to play out the Saga there, because if my opponent has the Cathar thing, like the 3-1 the flash, they can't crack it, so I'm still gonna get my mana. Okay, so now they do that, I get to next turn make a construct. It's gonna be a sad 1-1, but my opponent down to 1 card in hand. 2 Silent Clearing. Okay, swinging for 2 down to 15. This is okay. So I'm gonna save that fetch line in case I draw Titania. Same thing with the Flagstones over here. There's Commando, which kind of sucks a little bit for me, but I guess at least I get a construct out of the deal. So my best draws now are other Knight of the Reliquary. Huh. Interesting. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take it. And the reason to take it is, like, if my opponent wants to blow up my Saga, they need to spend their mana. If I make a construct on a trade, then okay, so they did have the land, so that blows me out. But my thought process was, if they have the guy that brings back the 2-drop, then they can't bring it back. Basically, they would need to spend 1 mana to blow up the Saga, and then they can bring it back. So did end up not working out for me there. Ooh, that's a good draw. So let's play a fetch land. Play a Reclaimer, and I can make it a 3-4 whenever I want. And I think this construct token is gonna chill. 1 card in hand for opponent, and it's not Dismember, because that was a good place to use that Dismember right there. Anointed Peacekeeper. Okay, so can this name 9s? Okay, so I imagine they're just gonna name Reclaimer, so it cost me 4 mana to activate. kind of fine. Yeah. So now it costs 4 to activate Reclaimer. Giant Killer. With power 4 greater. Still gonna chill on this mess. I don't need to play it out just yet. Okay. So now we have options. We can activate Reclaimer, which is gonna be 4 mana, which is fine. It's probably what I'm gonna try to do. And if things don't go my way, I can just play out the Solitude. And my opponent does not know about this Solitude, which is a huge deal. I'm gonna prioritize Reclaimer though. Gonna be prioritizing a Reclaimer activation. Giant Killer is a little bit annoying. Okay, now that they do this, obviously what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ambush the Sentinel. I'm gonna Solitude this thing. I imagine this should be game. Get the basic planes. Cast Solitude. GG's. And do I want to trade the Construct? I don't think I want to trade the Construct. That's gonna grow bigger. Okay, so we untap. They play Mutavault. We get to call. Well, that's probably gonna be game, right? I mean, my opponent should have smelled it when I could have activated Reclaimer and I didn't, right? Like, it was pretty obvious that I was gonna do something, but maybe they were far behind enough that it just doesn't matter. They just have to accept it. So it was an interesting deck. It seemed a little bit underpowered, but it was like like game 1 in particular. Like when it draws, that was the difference, right? Like my opponent did not find their 2-drops in this game. Like they didn't find Lieutenant and the other 2-drop that puts counters. I imagine that when he draws those cards, the deck is a lot better. Right, see it from round number 3. Sure. 2 of my targets. It's not great. I think I'm gonna fetch on 1. In the off chance that I do find exactly another fetch land off the top. I guess I have 1 more Temple Garden and 1 more basic lanes. Like we somehow found. I mean, that fetch land's gonna find this anyway, right? So I mean, it's not. I don't really have that many options. Spiral of Canal, Bolt my dude. Okay, complete and total sadness. Complete and total sadness. I'm getting the land out of the way there because I don't need to expose the Shadow Spear just yet. Like I don't even know what I'm gonna be doing with that. No dashing. Interesting. Ugh, that sucks. But I mean, my opponent's gonna have counterspell mana next turn, so I just have to do this. If they have another Bolt, I'm very, very sad. At least Heat doesn't do anything here, right? If I do get to untap with this Knight of the Reliquary, I think I win, though. Okay, so that's Delirium. But we do have the Soul God Lantern in play, so really gotta dodge Lightning Bolt. It's kind of the only card that matters at this point. I guess they can Heat and they can 2-for-1 themselves. Just go attack with Monkey and Bolt the Knight. That really sucks. That really, really sucks. And they found it of the iteration, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't have risked it. Let's see if we can find something. Okay, I'm just okay to concede here. Like we're not getting back into this game, right? We can try to, you know, keep playing, but we're not really going anywhere. So might as well just call it a day. So cards that I care about: Burn Turn, Auroch Champion. Archon seems decent. Mind Sensor, Second Endurance I like. Thalia's probably fine on the play. Can probably expect Blood Moon. So maybe having access to 1 answer is reasonable. Giver seems good. I don't think I care about Colony Garden. But I don't care about any of these other cards. So what am I cutting? I'm probably cutting Mind Sensor. It gets fetch lands, but it's not really that good. I'm gonna keep my late game. Rallier seems pretty decent, actually. Thalia seems great on the play. Maybe on the draw it's not so good. Shadow Spear, Sonic Drum, Sudan Orb. Can cut 1 Prismatic Ending. Because I'm gonna have access to, probably even 2. Because I'm gonna have access to 2 cards that mess with Monkey. It's 2 answers to Blood Moon. Because I'm cutting 1 Reclaimer. Ooh, I'd love to see it. Definitely keeping this hand. Of course, my opponent can have an answer to Reclaimer and get a lot worse very quickly. But if they don't, then we're actually going to be in really insanely good shape. Don't kill my Reclaimer. Okay, that's fine. Boom. Here we go. And here I have the option, right? I can trade Monkey for Reclaimer. Or I can just grow the Reclaimer if I want to and demand a 2-for-1. I think I'd rather take the ramp. The trick here is we sacrifice basic forest to Reclaimer. I get a second copy of Flagstones. The forest goes to the graveyard for the Reclaimer activation. The second copy of Flagstones legend rules itself. And then I go from there basically. So I think I'm getting plains here and a fetch land. And the fetch land's gonna be Wooded Foothills because I'm gonna fetch for a nice little trade there. Oh wow, we get to resolve Knight. Sick. Ooh, double Knight. Here's a Shadow Spear. You wanna pierce it? No. Now here's a 5/5. Consider and response. Okay. That is almost Delirium. I'm probably not going to pitch Endurance. Like, I could pitch Endurance if I wanted to, but... Oh, they get a Solitude. Subtlety, sorry. They don't. 2 mana. So, if this is iteration, this does enable Delirium. And I guess that if they do actually go for... Heat, I am going to Endurance now that I can guarantee that it's going to resolve. I'd much rather just cast the Endurance, but I'll do what I have to do, I guess. Alright, take 3. Do you have the Unholy Heat? Lightning Bolt, my Knight. Okay. Do you have Tormos Crypt or something? Fury. Okay. I mean, that's a way to get rid of it. That is definitely a way to get rid of it. Here's another one. That's a way to kill the Knight. Here's another one. So I kind of want to draw a land. Preferably a fetch land. Huh. Okay. Let's see if that is worth countering from my opponent. Looks like it isn't. So we're going to pass the turn. My plan here is to take 7. Take that. I'm going to sack one of these forests for Maya. We're going to cast Endurance. Probably gets countered, I imagine. And then we're going to suit up the Knight with Shadow Spear. It's not bad. That is not bad. So now I can call for Solitude if I need to. It's actually 7-point life swing. Just your casual 7-point life swing. Here we go. Okay, so opponent kept on top here. So I have to assume that they have lethal. So I'm going to call it right now. Playing around Counterspell. Only 1 card left in their hand. So they do their thing. Oh, we actually gained a life from the UR champion. Hey, you'll love to see it. Here we go. So they can't kill the Knight with a single card. It needs to be multiple cards. I'll take that. And I think if these resolves, which it looks like it doesn't. So I think now I'm gonna hold the Knight. I'm gonna move the Shadow Spear over here. And I'm gonna attack with the UR champion. Because now I can start to use the Knight for value. I can also bog if I need to. But I don't even care about Murktide at this point, because like Knight is just bigger. Just goes way over the top. Beaning Counterspell. Which makes sense because they're losing to the board, right? I think I'm going to activate for bog now. Just make sure Murktide doesn't get me. And I'm doing this mostly because my opponent just has only a single card left. So I can save some life, draw Windswept Heath, I'll just leave it in play. And now I am going. And I'm just going to attack because I'm going to gain 8 life, right? The 1 point on their face matters more than their 1 point on my face. Shredder! I would like to gain a life. Thank you. Bolt my Knight. Okay. They have heat. But they can't have Delirium though. Oh! Wow, if they get there, and they actually get Delirium here, that's insane! Wow! They just luck-sacked into Delirium? That's ridiculous, dude. Even the fetch land doesn't do it. Wow, that's wild. Saving the fetch land for, what's his name, right? For Titania. That is insane. Wow. I mean, we almost had a game there. We almost had a game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What can I do with 5 mana? What can we do with 5 mana? Connive away, my friend. Connive away. I guess we get Flax. No, we actually get a fetch land. There's no... So we get a guaranteed 5/3. I mean, Shredder is a 3/5. If they top deck Consider here... Okay, sweet. Got there. Game number 3. Anything we want to change? We know about Shredder now. And they looked at a lot of cards and they do not seem to be on Blood Moon. So I'm just going to make this switch right here, because this allows me to kill one of the early drops. We're on the draw, I guess, so maybe I want more answers to turn 1 Monkey. Maybe Archon is just not good enough. Oh, Thalia. Thalia is worse on the draw. Yeah. Not a fan of Thalia on the draw. Knight of Autumn, I guess. That's the last card. There's an argument for Mind Sensor just because it's a threat that I can play at instant speed, but the 2-1 bot is just way too irrelevant. Keep this, yes. Please play a turn 1 Monkey. I think this is straight up the best answer to turn 1 Monkey in the entire format. Go. Oh, I love that. Turn 1 Monkey or what? Do an attack? Have luck. Wait, what? Is this just to enable Delirium? Or do they have like a shock? Oh, Dress Down. Oh, this is fine. I mean, that's literally the best thing that they can do. That's just fine. Okay, so let's get a basic forest in case of Blood Moon here. Let's get a Reclaimer. Let's get a Giver. Say go. Kill Reclaimer. Makes sense. Be able to untap with Giver. If I untap with Giver and Knight, no fetching, so they like what they saw. Do I call for Reclaimer or do I play out the Knight? I think I'm going to play out the Knight. I think it's going to get countered. But I can replay it with Sarah Paragon down the line. And by baiting out the counter spell, now I can call for... What's his name if I have to? For Solitude. They obviously have iteration here. Dashed Monkey. Well, I think I'm trading this. I think I'm trading there. Okay. Fetch land is almost good enough. I'm going to call though. And I think I'm going to call for Reclaimer. Just so I can deploy it right now. Very tempting to call for Rallier, but okay, so are they going to iteration here or what? Iteration. So if they tap out of counterspell, that means that I can go Paragon into land, which would be pretty damn good. Fiery Islet, Exile, Dashed Monkey. This one I will take. This one I will take, because the upside is just so massive if I untap it. Endurance has been exiled. Ledger Shredder. Okay. I think we chill on the fetch land. Call. I'm gonna fetch right now. Let's get a basic Plains. And we're gonna pass the turn. Next turn we're gonna have Flagstones. We're gonna have enough mana to Sarah Paragon and play 1 or 2 drop, which is very nice. Hardcast Fury. Okay. Sack. Get a basic island. And I think I want to get Saga here. And I'm going to be able to Paragon into Forge Tender. And that just takes care of their dudes. We're going to have one land, Paragon into Forge Tender. And if I find the land, I can call for Reclaimer right now. Is that good? I could Archon. Archon effectively blanks Shredder. No, that doesn't work. I'll just have access to Solitude, I think. So let's just get a Saga here. Reclaimer down. Mayday. Blind attacks. We call. I mean, we could just call for Titania. Call for Oriok Champion. Yeah, that actually seems great. So the plan here is we go Paragon, land into Champion. Okay, never mind. So now we just pivot, change plans. Paragon into a Forge Tender. This takes care of the Fury. I also like that we can just sack this whenever we want and gain 2. Kind of nice. Yeah, maybe I should have just gotten Solitude. Because now Murktide can be a problem. Heat. Interesting. So I think we protect that. Red source of your choice would deal this turn. Just gonna protect from the Unholy Heat. We're gonna take 6 from the Fury, but it seems acceptable. Take 6, because next turn we're just gonna continue gaining some life. Play Murktide. We're gonna get Shadow Spear, I think, from the Saga. Does the construct matter? So what we can do here is we can go play Champion that blanks Fury. And I think the construct doesn't matter. So let's float a mana, get Shadow Spear. We're going to cast Knight of the Reliquary. Actually cast Oreo Champion first. Then Knight of the Reliquary. That's gonna trigger Shredder, which is what it is. Gains a life. And now the question is, do I want to suit up Shadow Spear on the Paragon? Because that would be 3 life. And then we lose to Unholy Heat. Though I guess I lose to Unholy Heat regardless, so this is just better. Unfortunately, we lose to Heat, and we can do about it. So I'm gonna leave the Paragon back to block Shredder, or to chump block the Murktide. Auto War. Okay, sounds good. Alright, we lose now. Yeah. I guess I should have just gotten Solitude instead of getting the Uruk Champion. Now, without knowing how the game was going to develop, I think it was a very hard line, but yeah. That was fun though, like it felt like we had gaming there. It was an interesting matchup, but yeah, Murktide seems like a problem for this deck. I was considering Brutal Cathar as well as Solitude, but yeah, this is where we're at right now. Alright, 4th round. Let's keep this. I'm a little bit skeptical about this hand, but I think I'm gonna go turn 1, Temple Garden, Giver, Gemstone Caverns. Okay, what are we up against? Steam Vent. So that doesn't really give us any information about that. So I do think that trying to have the Giver online as soon as I can is gonna be important. Nothing there. So maybe this is Calibrated Blast. We're probably gonna find out soon enough. Oh, it's just red. And we have the Lonesome Bojuka Bog, Silver Smoke Ghoul, Spray Springleaf Drum, and we're gonna have Endurance for next turn, so I'm just gonna bog here just to get rid of some of their dudes. And I guess I'm attacking here because this Giver is not protecting anything and I have no use for the mana, so okay. Upkeep Gaze. That's very good. That's quite strong. Okay. Well, we can't do anything about it, but like a 3/4 just lines up surprisingly well against all that stuff. So they're gonna get back the Silver Smoke Ghoul, but not the Amalgam because that triggers on my end step. So I can just main phase get rid of the Ghoul. So basic forest, get rid of the Amalgam and the Ox is what I mean. Do I even care? Or should I rather? Nah, I actually do care. Because they also have the other Worldly Gaze in there as well. So let's go with that. And the Giver is feeling frisky again. So their hand can't be too good. Because if their hand was better than other Worldly Gaze, they would have cast it last turn, right? Like if they had a Cathartic Reunion effect. So now we're going to be able to use Serra Paragons to slowly start to... Definitely blocking there. We're going to be able to use Serra Paragon to... oh, sure, yeah. Hard cast that. You got it. So white, Serra Paragon, get my fetch land, say go, and now we can start to slowly grind for some life. We can even recast the Endurance, which is nice. Okay, so they have Dark Blast in hand. Doesn't really do anything. So that's cool. So now we can use this to trigger Rallier. Because I don't really want to play the Endurance yet, there's no reason to. So we can just go, that gets exiled, that's fine. We're just gonna go super wide this turn. That gets exiled, I find the basic planes. Gain a couple of life. Renegade Rallier. Get back my Windswept Heath. Fetch. This doesn't get exiled. And I can replay. Replay Windswept Heath. Fetch. Now it does get exiled, but it's fine. Whatever. For planes. Plane out of the Reliquary. And say go. Not this turn, but next turn I'm going to be able to... So this turn I'm going to be getting Yavimaya. Upkeep my Giver. Okay. Dredge. Get an Arcomoeba. That's fine. So they're going to be able to get rid of the Giver. But that doesn't really do too much. Like, it makes the Sync Within a little bit more annoying, but like, now I just replayed the Giver. I just cast it again. So I guess I can also just cast this. Just get rid of their graveyard. Yeah, we're kind of going off here. We're kind of going off. So now they're down to nothing. Maybe I should have attacked with Rallier. Maybe I should have attacked with Rallier there. 3 mana for a Sting with Imp. You got it, champ. You got it. So here's a Mind Sensor. And let's activate Crack that to get Yavimaya. I can start sacrificing flagstones. Replay Giver. Play a land. So there you go. Anybody's game. Okay. Alright, that's pretty good. That's definitely pretty good. I wonder if my opponent should just be attacking, honestly. But now we're just gonna go for Saga. And I think I want to upkeep the Saga as well. Sacking Bog. Sacrifice Bog. This means that I get to activate to make 2 constructs on this very turn. Oh, I played the wrong flagstones, but it really does not matter. This is just garbage time. There's nothing my opponent can draw, and like I don't think they can even stack their deck into a winning position here. Because they just exile 2 chills, so that's 2 damage tops. And I have 2 blockers in the air. Dark black, silver is mold cool. Okay. Make a construct, make another construct. We have double giver. Opponent sees the right on the wall. So we want endurance. We want probably Forge, Tender, and Oriok. Do we want anything else? I don't think so. Clean cut for the 3 Thalias. Oh, Containment Priest, of course. Of course we want Containment Priest. Getting rid of Archon of Emeria. Shout out to Sarah Paragon. Just came down and completely took over that game. Kind of didn't matter whatsoever what my opponent was doing. Maybe Prismatic Ending is bad. Having access to a way to gain life is fine. And I just think Prismatic Ending is just awful. Maybe Thalia is better. Oh, Thalia is just so bad on the draw for us. Ending is heinous though. So let's bring in Colony Garden and another Night of Autumn. Call it a day. Also Thalia versus the Dark Bloods deck. Yuck. Opponent sideboarding up to 63. 61 cards was not good enough. 63 card special is the truth. Splinter Twin. I've never mulliganed Splinter Twin and I'm not about to start right now. Never mulliganed Splinter Twin and I'm not about to start right now. Ooh, I almost misclicked there. So here's the basic forest and here's my elf. What do you got, opponent? Do you got the Dark Blast trick or just the Otherworldly Gaze? Okay, that's fine. That's acceptable. Chill, Amalgam, and that's it. Okay, that's acceptable. We're fine with that. No turn 2 play, but they kept on top last turn. Maybe they kept on top though. They just have no second land. Okay, yeah, this is just easy mode now. We are done here. We are done. Honestly, I'm wondering if they just misclicked. Because this is kind of very, very bad for them, right? I kind of want to hold on to this, but I guess I'm going to play it out just to hit my land drop. Because, again, I'm just so absurdly far ahead. It's going to play out. I don't think I can lose from here now. I'm taking a turn off from Reclaimer activations to do this now. We are done. Good card, Thug. You got it, champ. You got it. So we can go Paragon. 2 mana. No, we have to Paragon first. So let's Paragon first. Play Heath. And now we fetch. We're gonna fetch for, I guess, another basic forest. White mana? What is this? Path to Exile my Paragon. You got it. Yeah, that's not it. that's not it. That's not how you win this game. I actually messed it up because I was supposed to use the Paragon mana to Springleaf Drum, but again, like this is just garbage time. Like we can't lose here, so we're just gonna sack here. I guess at this point it's better to sack with Reclaimer, so I can sack Flagstones and get a Saga. I can also call, if they do something very outrageous, which is kind of impossible, I can just call for Endurance. But yeah, this game is just, we're done here. Opponent still obviously not hitting their land drop. So activate Reclaimer, sack Flagstones, keep the Velvet mana. I mean, we're kind of seeing the advantage of just the Brewer's advantage, right? That's what we're seeing in action right here. Where my opponent, they just have no idea what's going on. So they're bringing in Path to Exile versus me, which is a card that kind of doesn't do anything at all. I guess we can start attacking. Or do we want to, I think we just want to continue developing our mana and getting value. We're at 17. Now I can even call and hardcast the Endurance if I want to. If they get too frisky with this Arkham US, I can just get them, you know? Just get them. Oh, I could have called for Mindsense. Didn't even think about that. Whatever. Yeah, Reunion resolves. Silver Smoke Ghoul. I think this literally doesn't. Like, I could have stopped that, and I don't think I should. Opponent's trying to raise, but we're just gonna get a Shadow Spear. Back this. Let's get Flagstones. And let's sack Basic Forest and get Yoimaya. We can upkeep. Upkeep. We're gonna make some tokens here. And activate Knight. Sack Flagstones. Get Temple Garden. We're gonna get another Saga. Straight to Chapter 2. I guess I'm gonna get even more value because I can. I'm just gonna get even more value here. And with that trigger on the stack, we're gonna get another Saga. Well, I guess I should have gone at Flagstones and then I get another set of the Reliquary. Just gonna get Sewer and Orb. Opponents has seen enough. Sweet. Last round, we finally face our first companion in Obosh. And this card is this hand is probably a little bit too slow versus Obosh. So let's ship it. It's much better. Keep. What do we bottom? So I think I'm gonna go turn 1 Giver, turn 2 Thalia. I think that's gonna be my plan. So I think I wanna bottom fetch land. Actually, no, I'm gonna bottom the Basic Forest. We take 2 points of damage, but against an Obosh deck, probably making a beefy Reclaimer is gonna be quite important. Okay, yeah. Definitely gonna trade if we are allowed to. We're not. So Monkey does connect, obviously. Exiling Ursasa. They play out a tapped land. I'm gonna fetch for a Basic Forest, but I'm still gonna deploy Thalia here. Can't answer it this turn. They're gonna need to at least use a removal spell on it, and next turn when we finally drop the Reclaimer, it's gonna be a 3/3. So I guess we can get Blood Moon here. That would suck. That's exactly what's happening. Fable. Okay, well that's better. So let's get a White Source here. Here's a 5/5. Den and Bone Crusher discarded. So they're really valuing the untapped land there. I guess I discard before knowing. Could have gone either way. So let's block the Monkey. They could have a Ball to finish off the Knight, but like it's a 2-for-1. They don't have that much stuff. Oh, Hardcast Fury, that's gross. That's a lot worse. Okay, so here's a Reclaimer. Here's a Sewer Orb. And here's an Apparition. We're still at 11. I imagine the opponent's just gonna crack Blast Zone. Yeah. We're out of gas here. So we're gonna take 6. They get a 3/3. It's not a great exchange, but like mana is not something they have too much of. Okay, so we have a bunch of bangers here. Burrington seems good. Champion seems good. Shalai is probably decent. Soul Guide sucks. Bojuki Bog sucks. Colony Garden's better. Night of Autumn seems decent. Giver seems fine. Reclaimers, medium. Mind Sensor and Archon. Even Skyclave is kind of medium. Prismatic Ending seems fine. Thalias I do like on the play. Maybe I'll cut them on the draw. Maybe cut 1 Saga. I'm very much expecting Blood Moon, considering what my opponents saw, what I saw from my opponent over there. So they seem to be playing like the Emayashi, like big red kind of deck. Huh. Okay. I'm keeping this hand. So I'm gonna go turn 1 Colony, turn 2 Heath fetch, turn 3 Heath fetch, and by the time I play the Knight, it's gonna be a 4/4. Which sure, it's Fury range, but at least I get a 2-for-1. Look at that plant token standing its ground. Oh, this beautiful plant token standing its ground. Well, that's great. We got 2 Time Walks out of this deal. Love to see it. I think they just kept a Blood Moon hand and they're gonna get super blown out. I think my opponent may have misevaluated their role. Like they wanted to be playing a longer game, and I'm so much better than they are at playing the longer game. Yep, that's a nice clean 2-for-1 that I got right there. Fable. Oh, and I think I'm just gonna fetch for basic planes, and I'm just going to Prismatic Ending this thing. It's not the best exchange, but it uses my mana well. It doesn't force me to block and play into a bolt. Like at this point, I'm just chilling. Yep. Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. We get another clean 2-for-1 right there. Oh, wait, wow. This is a 3-for-1 straight up. Love to see it. Here's a Saga. Here's another Reliquary. Here we go. Your go. Yep. Hell of a card. Really is a hell of a card. So yeah, so my opponent's very clearly in the Blood Moon plan, so very happy with how I played out that game. It does bear the question, do I want to make any changes? I don't think it's good enough for me to want to bring in Force. But the endings are looking good. Maybe Apparition. Maybe. I'm like big maybe. Like I don't even think it's that good. I think I'm just going to submit this again. And this is something that people very often confuse. Like they see, oh, your opponent's playing Ursa Saga. Like they're very weak to Blood Moon. Like this deck is not very weak to Blood Moon. Like you're not extremely happy to see it or anything like that. It's not like, oh, thank God my opponent played Blood Moon. But like you can beat it very reliably. Am I keeping this? I think so. The upside is very, very much there. Turn 1 ETB tapped land. Well, I love to see that. I'm gonna fetch for basic planes. Like it's very clear that my opponent is big time on the Blood Moon plan over there. So let's go this. Then play Surin Orb. And we're gonna fetch for a basic. And I do guess that we get blown out by Bolt into Blood Moon here, but exactly what my opponent has. Maybe I was supposed to just ship this. Maybe I was just supposed to ship this. Yeah. Maybe I was supposed to just like ship this hand and just hope to get a hand with like good lands. So I just lost this game because of Beat Monster. Deserved to lose this one. Most definitely deserved to lose this one. I was hoping my opponent would not play something that I would need to Solitude, because my hope was to fetch. I was gonna float a mana here, fetch for Springleaf Drum, and then do the thing. But I think, okay, they land. So I think that they're just gonna Blood Moon me here. So I wanted to prevent that from happening. That was the play. Oh, okay. White Source. Yeah, we're just a little bit too far behind at this point. I guess I can. Yeah. They want to pitch I think I want to pitch Reclaimer. So the plan here is evoke, I guess target you, float some. I think I have to make white mana, and I have to play Oriok Champion. The other option was to like play Knight, but Knight would be a 4/4 and Bone Crusher is a 4/3. So yeah, this game just did not work out. It just did not work out. Five turns and I could not find a land. I guess 4 turns. They could. I guess they could have. They could have Stomp here. Stomp prevents damage from being prevented. Anything to say? Just Stomp face. All right, sad way to go, but c'est la vie sometimes. All right, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. This deck was fun. It was better than I thought it was gonna be, to be honest with you. Like it felt like we had game against most of the decks that we played against, at least, and I felt like we were very, very good against other decks, like against Dredge. Like they just did not have a shot. They just did not have a shot at any point. So I think this deck is interesting. Sarah Paragon surprised. Like whenever it came down, it dominated the game entirely, and we only lost because Murktide is messed up. So because of that, it really makes me wonder, and it makes me think that my initial thoughts are true, which is we need more answers to Murktide. Like we just don't have enough. We have like this Singleton Solitude, which sure we can get around get around it with Knight of the Requiem, make it bigger than Murktide, and just try to race that way with Shadow Spear. That's what we did in one of the matches. We can tutor for the Solitude so that we have more virtual copies of the card or whatever, but the truth of the matter is, like, once you answer the first Murktide, the second Murktide is the one that beat us in the Murktide matchup, right? So maybe something like a Brutal Cathar can help out. And cards like Archon of Emeria were very unimpressive. Also, Thalia was super, super unimpressive. Like, this card did not look good whatsoever in this league. Sure, we did not get paired against the matchups where Thalia is good, but it just was not good at all, basically. Even against Murktide, it looked super mediocre. However, Thalia is a 2-drop, Archon is a 3-drop. Like, they're kind of doing the same thing, except this one fits the curve so much better. So that makes me think that if I'm going to be cutting one card to have access to Brutal Cathar, that card would be Archon. Maybe I would find a way for it in the sideboard or something. But this card was very unimpressive, and we did not get paired against the Mind Sensor matchup, but like this card is a banger whenever it works, like against stuff like Amulet or whatever. Like this is the card you want, like nothing else really matters. So because of that, I think that Archon is going to be the card to go. Like it's not as impactful as other cards. Also, Shalai seems just like a bad card. Like this card just seems like it's not modern playable. Oreo Champion also felt quite mediocre. I honestly feel like it would be better as another copy of Burntern Forge Tender. And if we're going too heavy on the 1-drops, it makes me think of Ranger Captain as another way to accrue card advantage and like tutor for 1-drops or whatever. The issue with Ranger Captain, obviously it's great against stuff like Cascade, but we're already pretty 3-drop heavy as is. So having access to Ranger Captain is medium. But yeah, I feel like there's multiple ways of building this deck. If you want to go the Ranger Captain route, then you have access to stuff like Giant Killer and whatnot. So I feel like there's a lot of exploration to do with this deck. And the fact that I feel like this version is quite misbuilt, and we still managed to get a 3-2. And it was like a convincing one, right? Like it was close when we lost. It was reaffirming when we won. Like when we won, we were just going so over the top of what my opponent was doing. Now of the Reliquary, kind of surprised, honestly. It was pretty surprising how apparently just surviving Fury can be just the modern defining feature. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't think this card is very good though. So I do think that if I were to play this deck again, I would make significant changes, and I would probably even try some other things out. Like the Ranger Captain Avenue is something that does seem enticing to me. But at that point, I feel like you want to be playing like 2 or 3 Ranger Captains and get rid of like Mind Sensor, Archon, like Renegade Rallier, right? Like so we're trying to like build a deck with a different axis. But Serra Paragon is legit. Obviously, like Titania and Solitude are fine one-offs. The only issue that I have with Titania is that it forces us to play Suran Orb, which is a card that I'm not necessarily excited to be playing. So, kind of a this is a package deal, right? Like you can't really play Titania without the Suran Orb if you're playing Saga. So, cool deck, very interesting. I will definitely be playing more of this in the future. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments. And if you would like to support the channel, you can do something as simple as just hitting the like and subscribe button. And also you can go on Patreon. You can actually make donations. With any donation of $30 or more, I can play any deck list of your choosing, regardless of format, up to and including pre-modern, actually. And finally, of course, you can book coaching sessions with me as well. Thank you for watching, folks. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.